Hello.
Good morning.
We're about to go off the rails. I have truly so many vlogs planned, and 2 or 3 that I'm already in the middle of, but I had this little idea pop into the brain this morning, and I thought, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Everything else into the garbage. I want to do this. I think it's going to be perfect because this will allow me to just read whatever, but with this other gimmick constraint on top. It's not like a themed reading vlog where I'm reading specific books, if that makes sense. This is me justifying rearranging my content calendar yet again, by the way. Here's the situation. Let me explain. A couple weeks ago, actually, let me start screen recording. So, like many people, I am sure, I spend a lot of time scrolling, like, mindlessly. Moment of peace, moment of silence in my brain, a spare extra thought or second.
Pick up my phone, check Instagram.
It's become like a knee-jerk reaction and bad habit, frankly, where I noticed that my average screen time is like many hours. At the beginning of September, I have over 4 hours, over 3 hours, over 3 hours. Oh, only 2 hours, almost 3 hours, an hour and a half. Wow. Okay. Oh, right back to 4.5 hours. All of this is entirely too many hours on Instagram, if you ask me. Like, when I discovered this information, I realized, what if I had those 4 hours back to do literally anything else? Like, no wonder I never have the time to get through the end of my to-do list. I'm busy sinking all of those hours into Instagram. Doing what? I don't know. Having a good time, but I don't need to be doing it for 4 hours a day. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll just set myself a child lock. I've had this on TikTok since I downloaded TikTok. Right now, I think my child lock on TikTok is set to 30 minutes. Not a child lock, like a screen time limit. Because I know that if I open TikTok, I'm spending the 30 minutes instantly, immediately. I get like 1 TikTok open a day. And I use it up all at the same time. And what happens is when I reach the limit, my phone says it'll give me a 5-minute warning and a 1-minute warning. At the 1-minute warning, my phone goes to grayscale on that app. When I reach the limit, my phone closes me out of the app and locks it, and I cannot click on the app the rest of the day. I can go into my phone settings and to change the limit, like increase it, like for TikTok, for example. I could go in at any time. Even if I already reached the threshold, I could go in, I could change 30 minutes to an hour to 4 hours and immediately hop right back into TikTok if I wanted to. So there's flexibility, I guess, but it served me very well on TikTok so far. So I thought, let me do that for Instagram. I'll start with an hour and a half. That feels pretty generous. But that feels like plenty of time still to be spending on Instagram, but I know that's gonna feel like less time right away. So you can see I started this on Monday, September 12th, and I was really good about it, mostly. I went right up to it for 4 days in a row, and then you could see that I gave myself an extra hour on September 16th, and then I dropped it to 2 hours the next day. I thought, oh, maybe I'll go to 2 hours instead of an hour and a half. I stuck with the 2 hours for a couple days, went back to 2.5, but that was my birthday. Okay, so I gave myself an extra hour on Instagram on my birthday, so that feels fine. No rules on that one day in particular. Then this week I've been mostly back to it. We're gonna ignore how much time I've spent on Instagram already today. And also, this is not what the video is about, because when I was resetting my limit today back to what I want it to be, an hour and a half, I noticed this little drop-down menu at the top where it says screen time and daily. This one is just hourly versus daily, but this one I can see screen time, notifications, and the amount of times that I open Instagram. I didn't know that information was available to me. So I clicked it. And it's so bad. It's so bad. On my birthday, for example, on this page, this is this week, it looks like, oh, my birthday is the crazy day. I opened Instagram almost 140 times, which is like, okay, fine. I probably was doing a little bit of extra DMing that day. I had some extra love that I received that day. It was a good, fun day on Instagram for me. But then you think that maybe that's an outlier, because the rest of these are like 50 times, 70 times, Still horrible. That's like 4 times as many as I would like it to be, at least. Let's go back to last week. 57, 76, 102. How about the week before? Over 100 times every day this week. 111, exactly, 2 days in a row. 104, 175. I hate that I know this information. I hate that I have this information. I can't believe that I picked up my phone this many times every day just to open up Instagram. What else am I doing on my phone? How many times do I pick up my phone and unlock it in a day? Like, this has set me on a spiral this morning. And I thought immediately,
How can I turn this into content?
because one, this is a habit that I would like to tweak. Like, I don't want to be opening Instagram over 100 times a day, because even though I have set up a screen time limit for myself on the app now, it clearly hasn't really affected how many times I check the app, which is part of the issue. I want to get rid of that knee-jerk instinct to check Instagram every time I have a moment of quiet or boredom is the thing. It's like, oh, I have 1 second of boredom. I know how to fix it. I'll mindlessly scroll, and that's what I reach for. So I'm trying to cut that out. Long story long, you already know, if you clicked on this video, where I'm going with this. I have seen other creators, booktubers and otherwise, make these really cool videos and vlogs where they will swap their screen time for reading, or swap their screen time for like literally whatever. And it's a similar idea, except that instead of swapping screen time directly, every time I open Instagram, I have to read 5 pages or listen to 5 minutes of an audiobook, because I do a lot of both. As of filming this right now, on Friday, I've opened Instagram almost 80 times. And I think it was only 40 something when I discovered this and had this idea a few hours ago. 79 times 5 is 395 pages that I would have to read today, or minutes that I would have to listen to on audiobook today if I didn't open Instagram one more time. And let's be honest, it's gonna happen another few times before I go to bed over the course of the entire day. So I'm officially gonna start this tomorrow on Saturday, the 25th? No, the 24th is tomorrow. Today is the 23rd. But I'm gonna use the rest of today to be kind of a trial test run to see if, one, I can monitor and catch myself before mindlessly opening the app, because now that's gonna bite me in the ass. Every time I open Instagram, even if it's for nothing, it's gonna cost me 5 pages to read. And 2, to see how much I can read and how many minutes and pages will actually add up, to see if this is gonna be a good challenge or just completely doomed from the start. So I'm gonna give it an honest college try today, and then I'll give you an update tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. I'm working at the bookstore all day tomorrow. We will see how the course of my Instagram/reading day goes. What am I actually reading right now? I have a couple of things going. I'm pretty close to finishing Only Human by Sylvan Neuvel, which is the 3rd book in the Themis Files. I am pretty close to finishing Molly Moon, Mickey Minus, and the Mind Machine. And I would love to start another of the books on my September TBR for all of the sci-fi and series that I'm trying to work through. I just had a bunch of library books come through, some audiobooks come through, so lots of good juicy stuff that I can dig into to pay for all of my Instagram openings, but we will get there when we get there. Okay, that's the video. If you're seeing it, I guess this was a fun time, so enjoy. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, bye. Happy birthday if you want it. the entire Binti trilogy. Oh my god. Thank you, Christy. Amazing. Also, I did not pack a lunch today, but I do have the beverage trifecta. It's called caffeination, hydration, carbonation. The Holy Trinity. Good morning. Good morning. I made it to the bookstore. Now let's talk some stats. So yesterday turned out to be not so typical in terms of reading. I read a ton, but it was almost perfect. So my stats yesterday, I'll put up a screenshots afterwards. I'm just using my phone, so I can't screen record. You get it. I ended up opening Instagram 96 times, which I'm not proud of, but 96 times 5 comes out to 480. So that's 480 pages or minutes of audiobook time that I would have to make up. And I was also on Instagram for 9 minutes over my screen time limit. I was on for an hour and 39 minutes. So that's a extra 9 minute/9 pages penalty. So yesterday's total would have come to 489 pages, which is like so much. That's why it was the control day, because I didn't have the thought until halfway through the day, anyway. But I did finish Only Human, which we'll talk about later when I am not anticipating anyone walking through the door right now. I finished Only Human. That was the last 2 hours plus. It came out to 155 minutes, which is good for 31 Instagram opens. And then I started Does My Body Offend You, which is my August book club book that Catherine and I have pushed to the end of September for book club, which is next Wednesday by me filming this, but should be live by the time you're watching this. And I read over 300 minutes of Does My Body Offend You, which comes out to 61 opens, 305 minutes to be exact. So in total, the 31 opens from Only Human and the 61 opens from Does My Body Offend You comes to 92 out of 96, plus the penalty, I guess. I was so close. I was 29 minutes/pages short yesterday on accident. So that was the control, and I'm going to heavily be trying to lower how many times I open the app. I already noticed yesterday a bunch of times that I would just mindlessly reach for my phone through muscle memory and open Instagram and immediately realize, oh my god, that's another 5 pages. Why did I just do that? On pure instinct. So I actually moved my Instagram app to a different page on my phone and replaced the place where it was with settings so that I can go right in to see what my screen time and open rate for the day is instead. So while I'm here today, if I get any reading done today, I think it will be more Does My Body Offend You? But I did also bring my physical copy of Molly Moon, Mickey Minus, and the Mind Machine. I really just want to get this done. It's kind of making me sad because I think this is my least favorite in the series, but I do want to read it. Molly Moon means everything to me. So maybe I'll take a bite out of this again. Maybe I'll read more Does My Body Offend You? I don't want to jinx myself, but I think this is going to be a fun and doable experiment is the most important part. Hi, doggy. Quick little vlog update. Sunday afternoon, almost 2 o'clock. The good news is I have a bit of a surplus from yesterday's reading. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to read today, but I bet you anything I'll be on Instagram today. So, like, is it fair to carry over a surplus from yesterday? So I might just have a little pat on my back. I did bonus extra reading. I don't know, maybe I'll have to cash in on it later in this vlog, but we'll see. So what happened yesterday, I'm keeping the most extra phone note with all of my daily stats and minutes and pages and opens and screen time. It's like, how am I allocating this much energy to this silly tracking? But here we are. Yesterday, Saturday, I opened Instagram a total of 52 times, which is just about slicing in half my average of recent history. So that's pretty cool. And I didn't go over my screen time. I hit an hour and 30 minutes and it locked me out, and I just dealt with it. And the world kept spinning. I finished Molly Moon Mickey Minus and the Mind Machine for the last 271 pages, which divided by 5 is about 54 opens. So that alone canceled me out almost perfectly. But then I also listened to 6 hours on double speed of Does My Body Offend You, which is, again, like the book club book that I'm discussing with Catherine in a few days. And I mostly just messed around on my iPad because Wes got me an Apple Pencil for my birthday. So I'm teaching myself like Procreate and doing little coloring apps. And it's just a good fun time. Is my new favorite thing to do while I listen to audiobooks. So that was a bonus. Over 6 hours of audiobook time comes to 370 minutes for an additional 74 opens. I have 76 opens in the bank if I want them. You know, just building a little nest egg for myself in this week-long experiment. But I now have 2 books, almost 3, because I'll finish this today. So we have Molly Moon to talk to you about, and I still have Only Human to talk to you about. And I want to take a second to do that before we get too wrapped up in the technical gimmick of this project. So Only Human I finished the first day, I think, which is the 3rd and final book in the Themis files after Sleeping Giants and Waking Gods, both of which I really, really loved. And Only Human is just not my favorite in the series and was not my favorite way to end a series. I ended up giving it a 3 stars. I liked the drama, the high stakes, all of the characters I thought had a pretty satisfying arc. I really enjoyed the philosophy and the social commentary that really came out in this book, but some of the characters were annoying and some of the plot just was a little bit all over the place and it just didn't feel very, I was gonna say realistic, but I don't know. This book is about aliens and giant robots and interplanetary genes and things, so I think realistic is not really what I'm worried about. It just, the characters that have been established over multiple books were making choices and having experiences and emotions that I just didn't feel like lined up with their established characters on the projectiles, character arcs that they were hinted at. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm excited that I finished a series. That was, I think, one of the only series on my September TBR that I would actually be finishing. For all the series I'm reading this month, continuing this month, the Themis Files is the only one I really wanted to finish, check off the list. It's done, I read it. And that alone is super satisfying. So I'm excited about that. Then yesterday I finished Molly Moon, which it was originally the end of the series, but then I think Georgia Bing switched publishers, and now there are 2 more books after this that I've never read. And now that I've finished my reread of the original 4, I'm gonna be really excited to pick up the new 2 books that I haven't read before. That is like endlessly exciting for me, but with the caveat that this did not really age well, actually, which is super, super disappointing, because I think the first 3 really, really did, and I love the first 3 books so much. I just reread them recently, and they all stand up. They all treat the reader with respect and intelligence. They all, I think, have really smart things to say. And in a way, knowing this came out in the early 2000s seemed a bit ahead of its time on a lot of things, especially for a middle grade book. But this one did not really stand up to all of that. And I very much got the feeling, even just from the beginning, that either this was rushed for the author to put out, or she had a different book planned, or there were more books planned. It just didn't feel like the other three. Like, I just can't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The story was fine. The characters were fine. If I'm being honest with myself, this deserves a 2 stars. But I gave it a 3 on Storygraph just because the series means so much to me, but this book was not great. That sucks. And I'm hoping that the 2 following maybe will redeem it a little bit. I don't know. So I'm going in a bit apprehensive to the 2 new books after this, but this is not to say that I think of Molly Moon any less. Like, the first 3 books are truly, truly so good and really do, like, hold up and stand up. This one, though, like, I had some issues with this one. So that's a big bummer, but I can check it off the list, and that feels really good. If you don't know, because I guess I haven't really talked about any of these books, this is how out of practice I am at vlogging, okay? Molly Moon is a middle grade sci-fi backlisted series that I read as a kid that is, like, really the series that got me into reading when I was a child. And the first book is about Molly Moon, who is a young British orphan, and her life just sucks so much, and she stumbles upon this old dusty book of hypnotism one day, teaches herself how to hypnotize, and has this larger than life trajectory into all kinds of mischief and mayhem in the first book, Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism. The second book is Molly Moon Stops the World, where she learns a new skill, and it just continues to be so much fun. That might be my favorite book in the series, Molly Moon Stops the World. And then the third book, Molly Moon's Something Time Travel Adventure, also so great. Like weirdly dark and philosophical and existential for a kid's book from 20 years ago. This one, though, I don't understand. Like, something is not connecting. Whatever. The Themis Files, is basically about this group of scientists that slowly discover bit by bit these giant robot parts all over the world, excavate them, create this team to assemble the robot, figure out what it does. Can we pilot the robot? Can we drive the robot? What does it do? And a whole course of wild events unfold. The third one that I will be finishing very shortly in this vlog is Does My Body Offend You by Myra Cuevas and Marie Marquardt. Marquardt. I keep thinking Marquardt. Marquardt. This is my book disco book club pick for the month of August that we will be discussing a couple of days from now. This is young adult contemporary about these 2 teenagers in high school, one of which is a refugee from Puerto Rico in, like, the wake of Hurricane Maria, and she's trying to find her place in this new school in Florida, and she goes to school one day without a bra because she has this horrible sunburn on her back, and her mom is like, it's fine, they're just breasts. And she doesn't want to go to school, Milena, because she's like, I can't go to school like this and not wear a bra. And her mom works in the medical field and is like, it's fine. She goes to school, she gets dress coded, it's humiliating. She runs into this other girl who they would never have really been friends if not for this interesting coincidence. All kinds of things happen. They decide to create, like, to go up against the school board and try and change the dress code because they find it so unjust and so unfair and so sexist how these girls keep getting dress coded when even in their school's dress code there says nothing about bras. And, like, she couldn't wear a bra because it was painful, and then she had to go to the school nurse to put panty liners and tape over her breasts so that she wouldn't be a distraction, which was also painful on her sunburns and painful to take off, and she missed the whole day of school. It becomes this whole thing. So the rest of the book is their friendship kind of forming, and also finding their steps as like little baby feminists in their like high school realm, and also dealing with all kinds of other things that teenagers and high schoolers go through. I didn't expect to be liking it as much as I am. I have about an hour left. So I think I'm probably going to give this about 4 stars, but I have just the ending to get through. So that's on my list for today. The next audiobook I think will be Golden Sun, which is also on my series September TBR, and I have the audiobook for 10 more days. So, I mean, clearly I have the physical book too, but that's the next audiobook that I'm going to get through, and then after that will be the Poppy War. I don't know how many books are going to be in this vlog, but I'm having kind of a good week for reading already, so we may see a few more books. So today, Sunday, I don't actually know how much reading I'm gonna get to, except for definitely finishing Does My Body Offend You? But this morning, we had brunch with Wes's parents to celebrate my birthday, which was so fun, such a good time. And now we have all kinds of pie and treats in our house. We'll literally be eating pie for dinner. I'm so excited. But then I also am gonna catch up with a friend I haven't talked to in a while. I have a staff meeting at the pole studio, and then I have another Animal Crossing date, a weekly Animal Crossing date with another friend. So that's my social calendar for today, and I don't know how much room it leaves for reading, let alone editing a video that I'm already a couple days late on posting. So a lot going on today. That's the update. Okay, bye. Okay, it is 10 o'clock Sunday night. I did finish Does My Body Offend You, but that was only 90 more minutes, which is good for like 18 opens. The point is, I opened Instagram 49 times today. I actually have 20 minutes left on my screen time limit, but I don't want to use it because I don't want to collect any more opens. I'm in such a deficit. So I think I am going to apply yesterday's surplus of of extra time that I had. It was like 70 or something ridiculous extra opens. And I think the new rule going into the week is I can use extra from the day before or make up the next day. But past like a 24-hour period is gone, just because I don't want that extra 70 to like carry me the rest of the week. I know I'm like changing the rules multiple times as we go here, but I think that's what we're gonna do. I don't think I'm gonna read anymore today. That's the update. I'm cashing out on the extra that I put in the bank yesterday. We're sticking with it. Overall, I mean, it's definitely working. Like, I'm already 2 days in and I'm reaching for it less. It's already less of an impulse, which is perfect. Like, the fact that took 2 days to reassociate, maybe I should read instead of immediately reach for Instagram. Perfect, great. Like, it's already a success in my mind. I need you to know that I immediately ended that clip and on impulse swiped and opened Instagram without thinking. So that brings me to an even 50 opens for the day. And I'm going to try and not touch it for the rest of the night. I cannot believe I just did that. That's it. You know, old habits die hard, I guess, is the point. Okay, good night. Good morning. Let's do this. Okay, hi. It's Tuesday night. It's like 10:30. I'm at the studio. I just finished my last class. And it's the day just like passed me by. I think I listened to like 20 minutes of an audiobook today. I know I've opened Instagram more than 4 times. So yesterday, I don't think I updated you at all. I just did like a whole B-roll day in my life, which was kind of fun. And I still have to talk to you about Does My Body Offend You, which I now finished like 2 or 3 days ago. So we're going to have a good sit down tomorrow, Wednesday, and talk about this. So far, the experiment is going well in the way that I know that I am opening Instagram with a consequence. Like, I'm thinking about it before I open it. Like, what's the point? Am I opening this because I want to, or am I opening this because I have a moment of boredom? And I'm feeling that thought cross my brain, which is exactly what I wanted. But the actual practice of having to pay the price and read those pages is tricky. And I made it happen yesterday by the skin of my teeth. I've been listening to Golden Sun on audiobook, and I listened to it a little bit more today, a little bit yesterday. I'm about 25% through already, But I'm gonna have to listen to some more tonight because I'm leaving the studio right now and going grocery shopping, but I didn't bring my earbuds. So I'm just gonna have to listen to the ambient sounds of like 11 p.m. grocery store and then go home and read, which is just like, this could be a whole hour that I got to read my audiobook. And if I was bolder, I would just listen to it. I would just listen to it on 2x speed, and everyone in the grocery store would be like, what is going on? Like, just at full volume listening to an audiobook in the grocery store at 11 p.m. Like, what a kook in my tie-dye shirt. But alas, I am not that bold. So I will be grocery shopping in silence and then making some tea and reading later tonight. Cheers. Welcome to my childhood bedroom. My mom has been trying to convince me to redo the big chalkboard wall for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to it. Yes, I convinced my parents in my most angsty phase of high school to paint the biggest wall in the room with chalkboard paint. And over the years, it has been a bunch of different things, but I'll show you my inspo pick so that hopefully I don't have to change it again for a few years. I'm gonna do something like this, I think. So it's gonna be like plants, probably not that nice. Sorry, Mom. But like plants and leaves and stuff, because like that's the bed obviously is pulled away, but I just want like plants and flowers over the bed, easy peasy. And while I'm doing that, I don't really know how long it's gonna take. I'm assuming a couple hours. I'm gonna keep chugging away on Golden Sun. I'm 35% in. I've read a little bit today already, but I already know I've been way too much into Instagram today. I've been really good the last couple days. I haven't even gotten close to my screen time limit the last couple days. Today, I'm gonna for sure hit my screen time, and I don't even want to look at how many times I've opened it already. I just know I have lots of reading to do. Plus, I did not quite finish what I needed to yesterday. So I have a little bit of a deficit today. Let me do the math really quick. I fell asleep listening to Golden Sun, so I had to figure out what the last thing I remembered was and then go and calculate like that for yesterday. Okay, so I just quickly did the math, which was way harder than it needed to be. Yesterday I opened Instagram 37 times. And I read just under 2 hours of Golden Sun for 110 minutes, divided by 5 is good for 22 opens, which means I have a deficit of 15 opens from yesterday that I have today to make up, because I gave myself the extra asterisk 24-hour rule to fix mistakes, but after that, I'm screwed. And so the challenge has been really good so far. But I have to make up that deficit today. So good thing I have like a shitload of Golden Sun to read. I would love to finish it today, but I have 12 hours left. So if I push it to maybe 2.5 speed, maybe, I don't know. I think I for sure want to finish it tomorrow and squeeze in one more book. This is very rambly, but I'm 6.5 hours into the Golden Sun audiobook. I'm fully back in it. It's a blast. There's so much going on. It is so high stakes. There's just, it's wild, but I'm having a good time. So I'm just gonna pop that audiobook in and start drawing some leaves on the wall. And we will touch base again very soon. good morning. We have much to discuss, It is Friday the 30th, which is the last day of this vlog. Hard stop because I have some friends coming into town tonight. Spoiler alert, it's Christina and Mo. Not Sunday, but she's gonna be here too. That was a cute entrance. Yes. Oh, my doggy. Oh, my doggy. So we may or may not be vlogging like this weekend for our little hangout, but I wanted to just like start fresh, have no silly project experiments going on. And also last Friday was my first like control day, experiment day. So it's officially a good week. I don't know why I'm like over justifying this. The vlog is ending today. Like the last couple of days have just gone by so fast, and by the skin of my teeth I've been doing fine on the experiment. So let me catch you up on the stats. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do some kind of editing movie magic so where this isn't confusing, because I have it listed out in my notes app and it's still so many numbers. So I think we left off Wednesday when I was doing my mom's chalkboard wall thing, and I didn't get to tell you that I ended up reading so much of Golden Sun. I almost did finish Golden Sun. I read like 12 hours on like 2.25 speed. So that's like, you know, maybe 5-ish hours of my time reading Golden Sun on Wednesday, but still, that's a little bit ridiculous and is not typical of a normal reading day, but it's cool that it ended up in this vlog, so I can divide that by 5 and count them for Instagram opens. So Wednesday, I ended up having 55 opens on Wednesday, plus the deficit from Tuesday of 15 that I didn't get to. So my total to get to for Wednesday was 70. I had no screen time penalty. I didn't read any physical pages on Wednesday, but I read 12 hours of Golden Sun, which is 720 minutes divided by 5, which is 144 opens. So safe to say I smashed it out of the park, including the deficit from the day before. It actually gave me a surplus of 74 again, which I could use for the following day if I wanted to, but that just felt like such a fluke thing that I didn't want to rely on that. I probably could have skipped Thursday if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. So Thursday I went to work at the bookstore. On my way there, and the first few minutes of like opening the shop, I finished the last like hour of Golden Sun. So we have to talk about this, but I'll go through the stats first on everything, because Thursday was a big day. So I finished Golden Sun. That was good for 10 opens for those 50 minutes. And then I also finished the ebook of Rise of Kyoshi, which I've been reading since over a year ago, because it was the group book for the Avatar: The Last Airbender readathon. That was August 2021. And I've had the ebook on my phone from the library for over a year, and I'll just read a couple pages at a time. I finally finished it yesterday. That alone is such a satisfying feeling. Plus, it was on my September TBR. I cannot remember the last time I was so dedicated and like productive on my actual established monthly TBR. It feels good, guys. It feels really good. But the funny thing is that I hadn't accounted for like an ebook setup when I made this challenge. It was only physical pages and audio minutes. So the ebook was, I have the post-it note where I did the calculations somewhere else, but the ebook I think showed me where I was at out of like 1,100 ebook pages. So I just made a note that that's where I started. And then when I finished, I reduced that fraction. It was like 74%. Went onto Storygraph, found the actual physical pages that are in the print book, multiplied that reduced fraction by the page number of the book to get what I started at, subtracted that number from the total number of pages, and that came out to 126 physical pages approximately that I read to finish Rise of Kyoshi. So thanks to my middle school math teachers, because you know what, that actually came in handy yesterday. That was a real life math problem yesterday. So 126 pages of Rise of Kyoshi divided by 5 is 25 opens. And so we're up to 35 for yesterday. And also I started the first half of Mouse Volume 2. So I got 75 pages into Mouse before I went to bed. Yeah, like exactly 75. Amazing. Which is like exactly halfway. I love even nice numbers. So plus another 75 pages equals another 15 opens. So the 10 opens from Golden Sun, the 25 from Rise of Kyoshi, and the 15 from Mouse equals 50 out of 57 for yesterday. So yesterday, Thursday, my total Instagram opens was 57. I went right up to my screen time limit, but not any over. So I only had to use 7 of those 74 surplus opens that I had from Wednesday. So that feels like way less of a cheat day than it could have, you know? I feel like I really did the right amount of effort regardless. Today, the final day, I will be definitely finishing Mouse, the last 70 pages or so. I think I'm gonna sit down with my coffee and do that right now. And that will be another 70 pages in the bank. And I also might start the Poppy War, but I don't know. I just unwrapped Priory of the Orange Tree, larger than my head, that Rachel from Let Me in the Library sent me for my birthday. I'm so excited to own this. So this will probably be making an appearance in a TBR very soon. I know it has a sequel coming out now. Like people have arcs of the sequel already, so I'm a little behind the times. But I am going to finally get to this one day. Thank you, Rachel, for sending it to me. But this is truly gigantic. I can't believe, I mean, I knew that it was chunky.
She's chunky.
800 pages? God. Most of my plan today is just like cleaning and getting ready for Christine and Mo to come into town. And I do have to go downtown to teach a class this afternoon. It's going to be an audiobook kind of day. It was an audiobook kind of week for the most part. So I'm going to put on the Poppy War and just go into it. I've been intimidated. I've been procrastinating. It's time. I only have the audiobook for 2 more weeks. So, it's time. I'm gonna start the Poppy War today after I finish Mouse. It's kind of just a dark day, I guess, for my reading today. So I have 3.5 books to talk to you about in this vlog, a reading vlog. Starting with one of the first books we read that I still haven't properly wrapped up is Does My Body Offend You? By Myra Cuevas and Marie Marcourt. Like, if I had read this as a 15, 16, 17-year-old, this would have helped my little baby feminist brain start to wrap my mind around intersectionality and privilege and all of these other things. I love all of the conversations that are had in this book, from women's empowerment to intersectionality to white saviorism, to sexual liberation, to women's bodies, to high school bullies, to power dynamics between like figures of authority and like school relationships. There's so much that goes on. So I really ended up loving this book. I think it's fantastic and it deserves more love. And now we have to talk about Golden Sun. Literally could not be more different from that book before. But holy wow, this comes after Red Rising, which is right here. And I thrifted all 3 of these. The first one is signed, which is extra cool now that I know that I officially love the series. Look at that, Mr. Pierce signed my book. So it is the second in a series, so I can't tell you really what all goes down, but just know that I was so completely on the edge of my seat for the entire freaking ride. I ended up soft DNFing this like last year at some point because I just didn't have I just wasn't in the right mind space. I didn't really have the mood or the focus for it at the time. So I started completely over from scratch on this one, and oh my God, we just never stopped. It just never stops. The momentum is insane. It just goes and goes and goes. There's so many twists and turns. There are so many characters that each have their own like sketchy motivations. Everyone has an ulterior motive. The commentary, the power dynamics is so messy. And the end of this book really made a mess of me. My jaw was on the floor. The twists, multiple twists at the end of this book really rocked my socks. I already filmed my October TBR, which will be up by the time you see this vlog. But Morning Star, the 3rd book in the series, is not in that TBR, and it's gonna take everything in me not to pick up Morning Star for at least a month, because Oh my god, the ending of Golden Sun. I never would have guessed that that's where we were going. I've been screaming in DMs kind of about the ending of this book with a couple people that I know have read it, and all of them have said, just wait for Morning Star. So this October is going to be a lesson in self-restraint. If this is in my October wrap-up, don't be shocked. But it shouldn't be. And we also have to talk about Rise of Kyoshi, because this is, again, I put off for over a year before finally finishing it. I'm gonna give, I gave Golden Sun 5 stars, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. Like, earned every single one of them and more. 5 stars for Golden Sun. Rise of Kyoshi, I'm gonna give 4 stars. And that's probably not the book's fault. That's mostly my fault, because I don't think I should have taken so long to get through it. And that was not the book's fault. It's just that ebook on my phone, I think, is probably my least favorite way to read, because I just am not motivated to get through it. Like, ebooks on my Kindle is one thing. That still feels like this device is made for reading. For some reason, ebooks on my phone never seem to go very well for me. So that is a me problem. And I think because of taking forever to finally finish it, I admittedly lost a few of the finer details and some of the tension over the course of like literally 14 months. Also not the book's fault, but regardless, like this, it is what it is. I didn't want to start completely over. I only had 100 pages left. And I remembered all of the important things anyway. Like, it is, I guess, technically YA. And I loved it so much. I loved it so much because it just captured exactly the perfect energy of Avatar: The Last Airbender and that world. I loved how diverse Kyoshi's background and experience is compared to so many of the other avatars who, at least whose backgrounds we know, where I'm not going to give anything away, but the way that she is raised, the way that she's discovered as the Avatar, her family, her friends, her experience in developing and like training with her masters, it's all so different from the other avatars that we see in the series, in the world. And I loved that. I loved that her experience is so different. There's a moment in the book where she talks about how it's said by the monks that each avatar comes into their avatar period at a certain time with certain needs. And she's like, what does that mean for me when my life has had all these troubles, when I've been through all of these like times of stress and hardship? Like, what is my avatar period going to be that this is how it started? And it's so interesting. It really makes you think about the history of this world that they've created, and it just drops you right into this moment. I loved Kyoshi. I loved her development. I loved the friends and the people that she has surrounding her. I thought everyone's arc over the book was just spectacular. And if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is so worth it. It is so worth your time to read Rise of Kyoshi. So I'm gonna sit down and finish the rest of Mouse, which is super heavy, really, really hard to read. This is the second volume. The first volume is right here in the boxed set. Mouse, let's discuss. Mouse by Art Spiegelman is this cartoonist, Art Spiegelman, who's telling the story of his father's experience and survival during the Holocaust, and like living through Auschwitz is mostly what Mouse 2 is their time in the camp. Mouse 1 is like the stress, the chaos of the start of the war and like running away, trying to find safety. Mouse 2 is the absolute horrors of experiencing life in Auschwitz, if you can call it life. And that is about it. It is a toughie, let me tell you. Some of the details in here are just, there are no words, like no words. But it's also so powerful in the way that Art Spiegelman also frames it to a kind of flash back and forth to his relationship with his father, like decades later, as his father is telling him the story, is so nuanced and interesting, and it's just like such a unique way to tell the story. And gosh, they are masterpieces and classics that, I mean, really changed this entire genre. Like, these have been around for a while. So that is my plan for my morning. Finish Mouse, start the Poppy War, and get my life together. Okay. I finished it. I'm a little bit watery-eyed, understandably. I don't really have the words. And I don't rate books like this, but God, I absolutely understand why this has the acclaim that it has. Truly a masterpiece, a masterpiece. I'm gonna have to go stare at the wall for a little while. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So that is one thing off of my to-do list. And also, while I was finishing that, my student texted me and asked if we could reschedule our lesson today. It's a private lesson that I teach Friday afternoons. And so we're just going to reschedule, which is also kind of ideal. So that way I have a little bit more time to just be home and kind of put my ducks in a row, and I don't have to go into town. And then I don't have to get like sweaty and do a workout after I already showered this morning. You know, it kind of just worked out. I can't believe we are coming to an end here. This has been such a fun project already. And I also updated you like 20 minutes this morning, so I'm keeping it brief. But that is another one off my September TBR that I actually read in the month of September. Amazing. Right, it's been a few days since Friday, the end of the challenge. I went and edited this video and realized I'd never actually wrapped up the project. The short version is, I think this is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. The long version is, I realized somewhere through editing that I kept saying, oh my gosh, this is not a typical reading week. It's just not typical. I never read this much.
Obviously.
Like, do we think that maybe the reason I was reading so much was because I very intentionally and purposefully was not spending time on social media? Like, I cannot believe that I didn't put that together before, because in the days since, I kind of said, all right, I'll give myself a couple of days. Yay, I finished this challenge. Let's just go back to no rules for a couple days. I've immediately been spending more time on Instagram already and not reading very much in the last few days. And so I would love to do maybe eventually like a longer challenge similar to this to see if I can really get the habit to stick. But what has definitely stuck, I think about it every single time now. Sometimes it takes a delayed few seconds once I'm already in the app and scrolling to realize, oh, I did not have a reason to open Instagram right now. But if that is what I get from this vlog, is that every time I open the app, I get a little ding that's telling me,
Hey idiot, how many times do you think you've opened the app today?
that's fine. I hope that that has long-term effects of over time reaching for it less. And I barely started the Poppy War on Friday, but not enough really to tell you anything about it. I am genuinely so excited with how this vlog came out, how this experiment turned out for me. I would love to know your thoughts. I haven't really done like a challenge video vlog like this before, so definitely let me know if you have any specific thoughts, ideas, future challenges. If you made it all the way to the end, you want to leave me an emoji, leave me the sunglasses guy, the cool guy sunglasses guy emoji, because that's kind of how I feel after crushing this challenge that I set for myself. And if you'd like to support the channel, give this video a like, subscribe if you would like to see more from my face, and I also have a bunch of links down below, as well, as far as like tarot readings and a newsletter and my Instagram and my story graph and all of those things. Thank you so much for watching. Give your dog a big ol' hug from me, and I will see you again very soon. Love you, bye!